In this video, I'm going to explain the concepts of socialism and Marxism in one simple diagram. In this diagram, you can see three different classes of people, all sorted by wealth or property that they own. Now these guys, Marx and Lenin, who started this whole crazy system, they called this top group I really don't know how to pronounce this, bourgeoisie. But today we would really call this, say, the business owners or the property owners. These would be like the workers in the factory. These are people who just have everyday jobs. They're just honestly working, trying to provide for their family, and mostly really just want people to leave them alone. So the theory that Marx and Lenin had is that society is founded upon, or the way to explain history is by the conflict between these two classes. That's the main storyline of history. The bourgeoisie is oppressing the proletariat. That's Marx and Lenin's story. So according to their story, there's really only two groups. There's the bad guys and the good guys. There's the people who have the wealth and the money and the people who don't. Now, it's worth asking the question, which group are Marx and Lenin part of? Are they in this group? Well, that would make them the bad guys. Or are they in this group? Are they? Are Marx and Lenin factory workers? Are they middle or lower class? In fact, they're much closer in terms of their lifestyle to the business owners. And so what we realize is that there's actually a third group here. So Marx and Lenin are part of this third group, which we'll call the intellectuals. So again, this wasn't part of Marx and Lenin's model, right? In their model, it was a very simplified, black and white. There are only two groups, and history is driven by the conflict between these two groups. But in fact, they were part of this third group. And the third group, what did it do? Well, at least, there are good examples of intellectuals for sure throughout history. You can think of different scientists and researchers and writers who contributed a lot to human society by the things that they wrote. But Marx and Lenin were kind of a special brand of intellectual. And this brand of intellectual has always followed the same pattern ever since Marx was writing. It's followed the same pattern. It's the same pattern you see today. When you send your kids to a university and they come back with all these crazy ideas about how, rich people are evil and how we need to destroy every distinction between any group, destroy all gender distinctions, destroy all economic and social distinctions, so that everyone is totally equal. Those universities are following in the tradition of Marx and Lenin, and so are the media outlets. Almost all the media outlets that are available today, at least in the mainstream. They have this same story that they've been telling for years and years. So what is that story? We'll get to it in a minute, but first I want to point something out. It's important to realize that the lifestyle of the intellectuals is actually really closer to that of the business owners than it is the factory workers or the middle and lower class. They have things like lots of leisure time, lots of vacation time, all these kind of perks and benefits that you don't see, they get that stuff. And so it's actually more fair to group them together as one, even though Marx and Lenin are jealous about these people who are a bit higher on the wealth spectrum and the influence spectrum than they are. And that jealousy is really what drives their next move. So what do they do? What's the sham that they've carried out for years and years? Well, they try to convince these people that these people are really bad. So they're telling the story to the people who are working hard every day, hey, you deserve a lot more from your labor than you're getting. Sometimes that's definitely true. There's plenty of, crony capitalism and unjust things that are done in the world to take wealth from people who can't stop it and put it in the pockets of those who are already rich. That's definitely all over the place. We're talking about something a little bit different here. We're talking about wealth and capital that was accumulated and built up in businesses by these capitalists, these business owners, these bourgeoisie, that was, built up justly without, violating any moral or ethical principles. They're just succeeding in the competition that is a free market, that is capitalism. They're making better products that serve more people at a cheaper price. And so they're, the consumers, the people who are out there buying, looking at the marketplace of products and choosing which to buy, are buying from person A rather than person B. And so eventually person A ends up having a very successful business. He can purchase more land in order to expand his business. He can purchase more vehicles. He can hire more people, and so on. As long as he continues to be, more and more efficient than his competitors, the value of his business is going to grow. And so his wealth and his accumulated capital is going to grow. Back to Marx and Lenin. So the story they're telling is these people are evil and oppressive and they're taking from you. So their plan was, let's just get rid of these people. Let's take all their stuff. Let's send them to, labor camps. Let's kill them. Whatever we have to do to get rid of them. And then, guess what? There's all this wealth that they had. And now it's just sort of out there. So we can take this money and this property. These are supposed to be houses. I'm not exactly an artist, but just go with it. Okay, let's take all this stuff that they've supposedly unjustly accumulated, and we're gonna spread it out to all of you guys. We're all gonna get our fair share. That's the story. Now, is that really what happens? Of course not. What actually happens is that this stuff just goes down. In reality, the people in charge, like Lenin and the Bolsheviks, they say, okay, we're the ones who really understand, the way the world works. And so we need to control all this stuff, and we'll, dole it out to you as you need. We'll give you according to your needs, and everybody will be equal. That's the theory, at least. But, as the saying goes, some are more equal than others. Now, this is not to say that hoarding wealth like Scrooge McDuck, who had this, big swimming pool full of gold coins that he would swim in, and he would just throw the money up, and he's not sharing it with anybody. It's not to say that that kind of hoarding is the right thing to do. Obviously, the Bible describes in many places provisions that are in there for wealthy people to share with those who are truly in need, widows, orphans, people who truly can't take care of themselves. One example was the gleaning law. If you're interested in learning more about that, watch this video next.